Sleep, we spend a huge chunk of our lives doing it, right? About a third, actually. And it feels so basic, so essential, like breathing or eating. But what if I told you that this thing we do every single night is actually one of the biggest unsolved mysteries in all of science?
I mean, we all know we need sleep. You feel awful when you don't get enough, but when you really start digging into the science behind it, well, that's where the picture gets really, really complicated.
And that complication leads to a question that, honestly, it challenges everything we think we know. So, what if a part of sleep, a part that seems totally critical, could just be taken away with almost no bad effects? Sounds impossible, right?
Well, that's exactly what brings us to the real heart of this mystery. We're talking about a specific stage of sleep that has had scientists scratching their heads for decades.
It's called REM sleep. You've probably heard of it. But scientists have another name for it, paradoxical sleep. And wow, does it live up to that name. See, during REM, your brain is just firing on all cylinders. It's almost like you're wide awake. Your metabolism's up, your eyes are darting around. But, and this is the crazy part, your body is totally paralyzed. It's this state of super intense, vital activity, all while you're fast asleep.
So, you see the contradiction, right? On one hand, you've got this high-octane brain state that looks absolutely essential. I mean, it's where we do most of our vivid dreaming. But on the other hand, we've got this bizarre medical reality where we can pretty much just turn it off.
And this is where the paradox gets really deep. Okay, so millions of people are out there taking common antidepressants, right? Things like SSRIs. Well, these drugs can massively suppress, or in some cases, pretty much eliminate REM sleep entirely. And yet, these people don't go insane. They don't have catastrophic memory loss. In fact, some studies show their skill memory might even get a tiny bit better. And it's not just drugs. We've seen patients with brain injuries that wipe out their REM sleep, and they don't show major cognitive decline either. It makes no sense. It's a total biological paradox.
Okay, so you might be thinking, well, if we can live without REM sleep, maybe sleep isn't such a big deal after all. Whoa, not so fast. The REM mystery is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. Because when we zoom out and look at what happens when you lose sleep in general, the consequences are devastating, and they are very, very real.
Let's just start with the money. How much does our collective exhaustion cost us? Well, a major study found that in the US alone, not getting enough sleep costs the economy, wait for it, up to $411 billion every single year. That's from lost productivity, healthcare, you name it. Just a staggering amount of money. And the cost to our minds? It's just as bad, if not worse. So take a look at this. This chart is tracking how well people do on something called the Stroop test. It's basically a test of your focus and ability to handle conflicting information. And over 6 months, the group getting enough sleep? Totally stable, no problem. But the sleep-deprived group? You can see it right there. A clear, steady decline. Their brains are just getting worse at focusing day after day.
And if you think that's alarming, get ready for this. This isn't just about performance. We're talking about what's physically happening to the brain. This study found that after only 6 months of not getting enough sleep, people showed measurable brain volume loss. I mean, their brains were literally shrinking in critical areas. Just look at the hippocampus, that's vital for memory. The sleep-deprived group lost almost 4% of its volume. The control group, less than 0.5%. That is actual physical damage.
So yeah, we can slap a dollar figure on it, hundreds of billions, but the real price? It's paid with our minds, with the actual physical health of our brains.
Which, of course, raises the big question. If not sleeping is so bad for us, what is our brain actually doing all night that's so important?
Well, researchers have zeroed in on 3 core functions. A good way to think about it is like nightly maintenance for your brain. It's cleaning house, resetting the system, and balancing the books.
All right, first up, cleaning house. So as your brain works hard all day, it produces a lot of waste, kind of like a busy city. This metabolic junk builds up and causes what's called oxidative stress, which is bad. It damages your cells. But when you go into deep sleep, your brain basically flips the switch to janitorial mode. It starts clearing out all those toxic byproducts, repairing the damage from the day. It's a deep clean, every single night.
Okay, number 2, resetting the system. And this brings us back to REM sleep, that weird paradoxical state. Something really cool happens here. The brain cells that pump out key chemicals like serotonin and norepinephrine, they just shut down completely. They take a break. This lets them rest and reset so they can work properly the next day. We're talking about the chemicals that control your mood, your focus, pretty important stuff.
And finally, number 3, balancing the books. Your body's whole hormonal system, your endocrine system, is basically managed by sleep. It's like the master accountant. It controls the release of growth hormone to repair your body. It keeps the stress hormone cortisol in check, and it manages the hormones that tell you when you're hungry or full. If you don't sleep, that entire hormonal balance sheet is just thrown into chaos.
So we've looked at the biology, we've seen the data, but the experience of sleep, or the lack of it, that's something else entirely. It's not just about science, it's deeply philosophical. I mean, what happens when that thing that's supposed to restore you becomes a source of pure torture?
There was this philosopher, Emile Cioran, who was a lifelong chronic insomniac. And he wrote about it with this incredible, brutal honesty. He said for people like him, a bed isn't a place of comfort. It's more like a torture rack. It's a place that promises relief and rest, but all it delivers is this agonizing, wide-awake waiting for a sleep that never comes.
But here's the crazy part. Cioran didn't just see it as torture. He saw a flip side. He actually believed that all that suffering held a unique kind of power. He argued that those sleepless nights, what he called vigils in the darkness, were a source of incredible insight and creativity. He felt that the ideas you have when you're awake while the rest of the world is asleep, they're deeper. They set you apart.
Thinking about Cioran's sleepless nights, it really makes you wonder about the sheer scale of human consciousness itself. So let's do something wild. Let's zoom way, way out, from one philosopher's lonely nights to the collective total for every human who has ever lived.
Okay, so people have actually tried to calculate this. You take every human who has ever existed, their average lifespan, their sleep patterns, and you add it all up. The total time our species has collectively spent awake, it's estimated to be somewhere around 4.9 trillion years.
Now, that number is so big it's almost meaningless, right? So let's try to put that in perspective. The entire universe is about 14 times billion years old. Our collective time spent being conscious, the sum of every thought, every fear, every dream, every moment of wakefulness, is more than 350 times longer than the age of the cosmos itself.
So that leaves us with one last, kind of mind-bending question, if you think about it. Against this backdrop of trillions of years of human awareness, a canvas of consciousness so vast it literally dwarfs the age of the universe, what then is the real meaning of a single sleepless night?